Good evening, guys. Sorry for disruptions a little bit. Claudine, can you make me presenter, please?
I am here. I'm busy doing it. Okay.
Thank you. All right, guys. Whilst Claudine's busy with that, you know all the with each class, please mute. You know the story already, so I'm not going to repeat myself. I hope all of you guys are doing very well. Yeah, so let me just share over here quickly. We have a bit of a jam-packed session this evening. So yeah, we're going to be working very, very fast through the stuff. Okay, let me put my video on so you guys can see my ugly mug. Yeah. So essentially what we're going to be going through to this evening is the changes in demand and supply. And of course, a little bit of elasticity. Okay, I did Cameron, I asked Cameron this afternoon to send through the notes, but it's also uploaded on the system for you, so you can access them. With the notes, yes, I've furnished through to you guys this afternoon. The answers are in there, but the idea is when we have a chat, when you guys engage with me, I'm really pro for us to engage, right? So if I do ask you to explain something, please do me a favor that you explain how you got to the answer. And in so doing, we're basically going to assist everybody else. Okay. Zoom slideshow. These guys know, yeah, if you've got any study support related queries, just mail it to ctintat@unisa.ac.za. Okay, please also complete the tenants register and the feedback form. Claudine has really nicely put for you, so I appreciate that from her. And yeah, so let's move along. Basically, this is start of this is going to be, I'm just going to go through what a movement along the demand curve means, what a shift in the demand curve means. Okay, similarly, what a movement along the supply curve means, and what it means when people talk about the shift of the supply curve. So I'm going to go through this very quickly because we did cover this last week. Okay, so essentially a movement along the curve, the demand curve is caused by a change in the price. All right. On the vertical axis, that is your y-axis, that's where your independent variable is. So I'm going to say this now, and I want you guys to make a note in your books over there, because once we come to elasticity, then I don't need to repeat myself. It's already flagged with you, and you're going to sit and think a little bit. Okay, no, that's what he means when you use those words. Okay, so along your vertical axis, your y-axis, that's your independent variable. Okay, in this case, for your demand curve, it's price, right? On your horizontal axis, where your dependent variable is, it's your quantity demanded. Okay, so in the case of a movement along the demand curve, you are going to have what? It's a change in the price that's going to affect that. Okay. In the case of a shift of the demand curve, it's all of the other factors, right? It's all the other determinants of demand. And what are they? right? It's the price of related goods. It is your household's so household's income, right? It's your taste or your preferences. It's the number of people in the household, the market, or the population. Okay. So we used last week. We went through the example of remember. Let me just emphasize over here the price of related goods. And when I'm talking about price of related goods, I'm talking to you about substitutes and complements. When I say the word substitute, always just think of those few keywords. It's either or, all right? When I talk about complements, remember I said the word together, okay? So I'm going to explain this by using an example, okay? In the case of, if there are changes in the price of related goods, in the prices of related goods. So here's an example. I'll read it for you first. If pizza and hamburgers are substitutes, right? A decrease in the price of pizza would increase the demand for hamburgers. True or false? Right? It's false because if over here you see the price of pizza decreasing, right? And I know pizza and hamburgers are substitutes. Now the first thing I think of, I use the law of demand. So what is going to happen to the quantity demanded of pizza? It's going to increase. Remember, it's a negative relationship. The one goes down, the other one goes up. The one goes down, the other one goes up. And of course, conversely, the other way around as well. Okay? If the other one goes up, the other one is going to go down. So in this case, your pizza is decreasing, right? Which means your quantity demanded of your pizza is going to increase. Okay? And because you are using either pizza, you're either going to consume pizza or hamburgers, ceteris paribus, in other words, everything else being equal, okay, your demand for your hamburgers is going to decrease. Okay. I did explain it last week, but if there's any questions, I'll pause for a little bit. And if anybody just wants more clarification on this. So you guys can just send me a message in the chat and then we can engage it in that way. Are you guys happy? You can just give me a thumbs up and we can carry on in the messenger chat over here. Can everybody hear me? Okay, there I'm seeing. I didn't see it on my phone. Sorry for that, man. Let me close it again over here. I don't know why the chat wasn't coming through. Okay. Awesome. So Cameron was saying, please quickly say which is the y and x axis. Right? Your y axis, your independent variable, is your vertical axis. Right? Vertical. Horizontal is your x axis. Okay. So let's continue. So here I'm going to give you the example of complements. Right? If coffee and milk are complements, right, an increase in the price of coffee would decrease the demand for milk. Is that true or false? Right? I'll read it again. If coffee and milk are complements, in other words, they're going together, right? They buy these, they love each other, right? An increase in the price of coffee would decrease the demand for milk, right? So here on the left-hand side, what do I have? The price of coffee, which is increasing, right? Then I relate that immediately to the law of demand in the case of coffee. So what's going to happen to the quantity demanded? Is it going to increase or decrease? Right? Is it going to increase or decrease? Remember, it's a negative relationship. So if the price of coffee increases, your quantity demanded of your coffee is going to decrease. Right? What is coffee and milk? They go together. So the quantity demanded of coffee is going to decrease. Clearly, your demand for milk is going to decrease. In other words, you're going to see a shift to the left, a parallel shift to the left of the demand curve for milk. Okay. I hope it makes sense. Let's carry on. So now I'm going to ask you guys, there's some practice questions. So this is in the case now of changes in demand. Okay, specific to demand, changes in demand. Okay, so the first question reads as follows: a decrease in the price of Coke will increase their demand. Huh? In other words, will shift the demand curve for Coke to the right. A decrease in the price of Coke will increase the demand for Coke. In other words, it will shift the demand curve to the right. Pardon me, is this true or false? Anyone is saying false? And Inim, you've Esmeralda saying, what's happening to the sound, guys? Okay, no, sorry. Anybody else? And let's get some people that haven't really put in anything before. Guys, I'm not going to put you on the spot. It's all just for us to engage. I see such a beautiful picture here of Nelisiwe. Nelisiwe, what do you have to say? Is that you? Yes, that's NM, I'm assuming. You see there, your answer befits the beautiful picture of you. Fazile says false. Esmeralda says true. Bazan says false. Jolene says true. Nonkululeko says true. So can one of the Nonkululeko, given that you're the last person, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. It's all of us are here just to engage and for us to learn. Would you kindly unmute yourself and just give us a reason why you're saying true? But don't be shy, man. Or anybody else that feels comfortable to talk and is not normally a person that normally talks or unmutes. Hey guys? Nobody want to unmute. These guys shy this evening. Hey?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, it's Jolene. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Jolene.
May I answer this time or must I sit back
No,
again?
you're welcome to. I see NM was going to. I only saw your hand now, NM. But
Okay, but
Jolene,
let
you're welcome.
in
Okay.
can
Okay.
go ahead because I had a turn previously. It's fine, thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello. Hi. My name is Nomusa. Okay.
Hi.
Hi. All right. So, like you said, that there is an inverse relationship between price and demand. So, if there's a decrease in the price of Coke, there'll be movement along the demand curve. So, it is false. Should the only time that the curve shifts to the right or left, it's the what are those called? All the other things that has not the determinants that have nothing to do with the price. So that's my reasoning for false.
You spot on. You spot on. So thank you very much for that. So the only thing that's gonna, if there's a change in the price, in other words, if the price increases or decreases, that's gonna cause a movement along the curve, along the demand curve. Okay, and that is going to change the quantity demanded of the product or good. Let's in this case, it's going to be the quantity demanded of Coke. Right? But if you're going to change any one of the other determinants, let's be of demand, which is the taste or preferences, or income, then you're going to have a change in demand because the demand curve is either going to shift to the left, right? Okay, or to the right. To the left is going to be a decrease, a leftward shift, parallel leftward shift, right? Downwards, that's a decrease, and upwards to the right is an increase. Okay, so thank you very much for that. I really appreciate you unmuting yourself. Just going forward, what we can do is, yeah, you can just take your hand away now, and then, yeah, I can just look for the hands, and then we can take it from there. So apologies on my side. So the second question reads as follows, right? In the market for fitness balls, which of the following variables would decrease demand? Ceteris paribus. In other words, ceteris paribus meaning everything else remains equal. Okay. So I'll read it again. In the market for fitness balls, which of the following variables, right? Which of the following variables would decrease demand, ceteris paribus? Is it number one, an increase in the price of fitness balls? Number two, a decrease in the price of fitness balls? Three, a fall in the income of consumers? And four, a decrease in the price of hand pumps, a complement. So reading from this, right, which ones are you immediately going to take out of the equation? Because with any multiple choice question, try and eradicate or eliminate the most obvious wrong answers, because it helps you to get closer towards your right answer. Because remember now, we are looking at 1 out of 4. Now, if I cross out 2 of them, right, then I have 2 other options. In other words, I've got a 1 in 2 chance, which is 50% of me getting my answer right. Whereas if it was 1 out of 4, I would have 1 divided by 4 chance, which is 25%. So I want to increase my chance from 25 to 50%. Anyway, you guys understand because I've spoken about it before already. But which 2 would you single out immediately, given what I said earlier on? And you can maybe just chat about that put it in the chat. Thank you for your answers, Zain. It is definitely the first 2. And the reason for that is, right, we're talking about the product or the good over here. What is the product? It's fitness balls. So they're talking about decreasing demand. They didn't talk about decreasing quantity demanded. They're talking about decreasing demand. So this over here, anything related to the price is going to cause a movement along the demand curve. So you can immediately take out option 1 and 2. You can immediately cross those 2 out. Okay. So now for number 4 over here, they're saying what? A decrease in the price of hand pumps, which is a complement. Okay. So let's think about this. What did we say before? All right. A decrease in the price of hand pumps, a complement. Okay. So hand pumps is going to decrease. My quantity demanded for hand pumps is going to increase. Right? My quantity demanded of my hand pumps is going to increase. Right? Which means that my demand for my fitness balls is going to increase because they are complements. I'm working the other way around now. Let me use the example over here. Right? Let me just make this a little bit smaller. Remember, they said the price of hand pumps is going to, read it again, the price, number 4, a decrease in the price of hand pumps, a complement is going to decrease, right? A decrease in the price of hand pumps. Okay, so let's go to this example. So think of the other way around, right? And you guys must tell me if I'm confusing you. Okay, so yeah, let's just use this one. Don't look on top over there, just follow my reasoning. And don't look at the pizza and the hamburgers, right? Just put it, the price of hand pumps is going to decrease. The quantity demanded of my hand pumps is going to increase. And remembering that fitness balls and hand pumps go together. So therefore, if my quantity demanded of my pizza is going to increase, that means that my demand for my fitness balls must also increase, but it doesn't. It decreases. So clearly number 4 is wrong as well. Okay, and therefore number 3 is right. A fall in the income of consumers. Right? And the reason for that is if there's a fall in the in consumers' income, they've got less disposable income, right? Which means that after tax, right, whatever's in their that's left in their banking account, they've got less of that to consume goods and services. Okay, so they won't be able to purchase that. And then number 3 over here. Number 3 reads as follows: which of the following would not cause the demand curve for varsity cup or rugby tickets to shift? Which of the following would not cause the demand curve for varsity cup or rugby tickets to shift? Meaning it is everything else besides the price of rugby tickets, varsity cup rugby tickets. So here they're saying an increase in the price of professional rugby tickets, a decrease in the price of university hockey tickets, an increase in the price of varsity cup tickets, a drop in students' income. Which of the following would not cause the demand curve for varsity cup rugby tickets to shift? Just for this last one, maybe can somebody just put their hand up and then we can unmute and then give me the reason why you chose that specific one. And not yourself, Jolene, if you don't mind. Yolanda saying an increase in the price of varsity cup tickets. Esmeralda saying number 3. Taryn is saying 3. Yeah, Taryn put it beautifully over there. An increase in the price of tickets will cause a movement, not a shift. All others will cause a shift. Okay, so that's your answer over there. Can we carry on? Are you guys good to go? You just give me a thumbs up.
Sorry, can you maybe just explain the complement again? If the one goes down, does the other one also go down?
Thank you for the question, Jolene. So what I'm saying is, right, if remember complements go together, it's like milk and sugar, right? What else is there? A Blu-ray player with a Blu-ray disc. If we don't have the other one, right, your satisfaction is going to be impeded, or they need to go together for you to get the satisfaction out of using the stuff. Let me rather put it differently. Okay. So what happens is, right, if the price of, and they're going to tell you it's a complement, right? Let's go back to let me rather explain while I have something that shows what I'm talking about. Okay. So in the case of your coffee and milk of complements, right, If there's an increase in the price of coffee, right, the law of demand, what's going to happen to the quantity demanded of coffee? It's going to decrease, right? And because coffee and milk go together, if the quantity demanded of coffee decreases, the demand for milk is also going to decrease. Ceteris paribus. Okay. So these two have a positive relationship. Okay. So that is the one thing that you need to understand in terms of complements. But don't try and look at positive relationships and negative relationships. Try and understand what I'm saying to you. Use those keywords, then you'll never ever forget it. It's very easy. The one way that you, yes, in terms of the law of demand, it's a negative relationship, right? The law of supply is a positive relationship. That is a given. Now you can study that to the nth degree, all right? But in terms of complements, if it's better, if that's the way you want to study, but for me, the way that I've internalized this is, right? If I had to use a substitute example, okay? I'm saying over here, if the price of pizza decreases, law of demand, my quantity demand of pizza is going to increase because pizza and hamburgers are substitutes. I'm either going to buy pizza or I'm going to buy hamburgers. Not both of them, it's either or. So if my quantity demand of my pizza is going to increase, clearly the demand for hamburgers is going to decrease because it's either or. However, in the case of a complement, the two are going together. So if the quantity demand of your coffee is going to decrease, your demand for your milk is also going to decrease because they're moving together. They're best friends. Okay.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Okay, now we're going to move on to, just make this a little bit smaller. So this is a movement along the supply curve. Similarly, if, yeah, I've included the answers on the side over here for your notes. Let's resume slideshow. Right. Yeah, the movement along the supply curve can be caused by a change in the price of the product. Similarly, right? So here the shift is all the other variables. What are the other variables? The price of alternative goods as your substitutes and your complements, right? It's the price of your factors of production and other inputs, okay? Is productivity. If your productivity increases or decreases, right? If there is adverse weather, like a drought, okay? And then on the yeah, so essentially I've answered that question over here. I was going to ask you guys to name two factors that will decrease the supply of a good or service. I've named them already now. But can you guys put it on the side over here? Remember, a decrease in the supply is a leftward upward shift. You see this curve over here? You've got price on your as your independent variable on your vertical axis. You've got your quantity supplied on your x-axis, horizontal axis. You've got your zero over here. All right? This is your supply curve, your upward sloping curve. Right? If my supply curve shifts from S to S superscript over there, star, or not star, comma, right? If it shifts to the right, it's saying that supply is increasing. Supply is increasing. A rightward shift is that supply is increasing. A rightward shift of the demand curve, right? Demand curve, what is it saying to you? Demand is increasing. If your supply curve shifts to the left, supply is decreasing. Supply upward leftward shift, supply is decreasing. Okay, that's necessarily a bad thing, right? And yes, so it's upwards to the left. Supply is decreasing. So what two factors is going to bring about that? Can you guys put that in the chat? Oh my goodness, I was talking to myself there for quite some time. Thank you very much, Esmeralda. So let's go back again. So what I was saying is, Yolanda, just name two factors that will decrease the supply of a good or service, right? In other words, your supply curve is shifting upwards and to the left. So name any two factors, please. You guys can just put it in the messenger chat, in the meeting chat. Thank you. So I've got a changing technology. What do you mean by the change in technology? Is it an increase in technology? Is it a decrease in technology? I see Terence also saying technology. Population can cause a shift. Yolanda is saying factors of production being scarce or cost of factors of production increasing. Beautiful, I love that. Your cost of your factors of production increasing. What are your factors of production? It's labor, it's capital, it's entrepreneurship, right? All your other input costs, right? Those increasing, okay? So as another example, why they say adverse weather. If you have a drought, right, your input costs are going to increase. That is why your supply is going to decrease. Your supply curve is going to shift to the left, right? When you have a decrease in technology, your supply curve is going to shift to the left, right? You guys, you follow that? You follow that? I actually forgot to mention earlier on, what time did we start? 6:30. At 7:30, we're going to have a 10-minute break. Yeah, then you can just mute and then just have a comfort break for 10 minutes. Thank you, guys. Let's carry on. Okay, so what is the case when you have market equilibrium? When you have market equilibrium, a market equilibrium is essentially when the quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied. Okay, so what am I talking about over here? I'm saying to you the market equilibrium is where you have the intersection of the supply and the demand curves. All right, that's where you have the intersection of the supply and demand curves, where your quantity demanded is equal to your quantity supplied. So we are going to have an example. We're going to have to work it out using math. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to make those two equations equal one another. And you're going to solve either for price or for quantity. Because where the two comes together, that is your equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Okay? So it doesn't matter if it's quantity supplied or quantity demanded, eventually it's going to be quantity. So just note that. I'm flagging it with you now. Okay. So the price at which this occurs is called the equilibrium price, or PE. Right? At any other price, there is disequilibrium in the form of excess demand or excess supply. We'll get there again. Right? When the quantity demanded, your QD, is greater than your quantity supplied, QS, there is something called an excess demand or market shortage. In other words, quantity demanded is greater than your quantity supplied, right? When your quantity supplied is greater than your quantity demanded, then we talk about something called about excess supply, or there's a market surplus. Okay, and this is basically just a graphic of it over here, right? What do we have on the vertical axis over here? We've got the price of coffee. At the bottom over here, on your horizontal axis, your x-axis, your dependent variable, it is your quantity demanded of coffee tins. So here, on the graph itself, we have the supply curve denoted by S over there, or SC. Let me make it a little bit bigger. SC, and your demand curve, right, denoted by DC. So where you have the intersection, in other words, where the two meet, that is going to be your point of equilibrium. It's normally denoted by E over here. Okay. So what is the equilibrium price? Right? You just need to go through to your vertical axis, and you see it's by 30 over there. Right? So equilibrium price is 30 Rand. So I just need to cough quickly. Sorry about that. And what is your equilibrium quantity? At 60 tons of coffee. Okay, so I hope all of it makes sense. So I've got a few questions over here. So this was also in that one paper that I sent through to you. Yeah, so I did actually see that I think it was October 2018 paper. They did actually put this in, because I was going through some of the exams this morning. This morning. And then I saw that, then I thought, okay, let me throw this in as well for you and give you some practical examples. Okay. And then, yeah, this is some of this is the solution over there, just to assist you a bit further. Okay. So what did I say earlier on? Right. We have how you determine equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity, or equilibrium point, let me rather say, which highlights those, is when you make your quantity demanded equal your quantity supplied. Your quantity demanded equation is 120 minus 3P, your P being the price. Right? While the supply is given by your quantity supplied is equal to 40 plus 2P. Right? Where P is your price in the Rand. So can you see on the left hand side over here, I've took the demand equation. On the far right hand side, I took the supply equation and I made them equal. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to solve for P. In this case, P is going to be my equilibrium price. Right? And my equilibrium price is 16 Rand. It's simple. It's maths over here. And you guys, yeah, do I need to explain that, or you guys fine with it? How you actually worked it out? Is everybody okay? Fazana saying yes. Yolanda saying yes. Jolene is saying please explain. No problems. So essentially, as I said earlier on, my quantity demanded equation is on the far left-hand side, quantity supplied is on the right-hand side. That's 120 minus 3P is equal to 40 plus 2P. Okay. What I'm going to do on this side over here is I'm taking the 40 to the other side. Right? So with that said over there, I'm going to do what? I'm going to subtract it on this side. Okay. So 40 plus 40 minus 40 over here is 0 this side on my right hand side. Okay. And then of course what I do on this side, I need to do it on the other side. So therefore it's 120 minus 40. Okay. So I want to take the 3P to the other side. Right? If it's minus 3P over there, if I need to take it to the other side, it's plus 3P. In another way, I could say to you exactly what I did previously. I've got plus 3P over here, which cancels out this 3P over here on the left-hand side. But what I do this side, I need to do the other side as well. I hope that makes sense. So now I've got 120 minus 40 is equal to 2P plus 3P. Okay? And that equals to 80. That is equal to 5P. And on the far right-hand side, I'm going to divide by 5, which means that my equilibrium price is going to be 16. Right? The key thing over here is, right, what you do on the one side, you must also do on the other side. So if I want to cancel out on the left-hand side, right, if I want to move the 40 on the far right hand side on top over here to the other side, I need to subtract 40 over here, which cancels on the right, the 40 on the right hand side, but it means on the left hand side is going to be minus 40. Okay. So essentially what I'm going to do now is that equilibrium price of 16 Rand, I can put in any one of these equations. I can be in the demand equation or the supply equation to get my equilibrium quantity. Because equal, you can use either one of them. Okay, does it make sense? Thank you, Yolanda. You can unmute.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You can go ahead, Yolanda.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you couldn't hear me. I want to know, I don't know if I'm seeing this correctly, but is this not the quantity, the equilibrium quantity demanded being calculated here instead of
The
price? No, I
no,
see it now.
they
It's
asked.
actually the price. It's the price. So sorry. The second part of my question is that if equilibrium quantity supplied and quantity demanded were asked instead, do you
No.
first calculate the
Can
price, then
I just interject quickly?
yes, okay.
And this is for everybody. Guys, once you have equilibrium, it's no longer supplied or demanded. It's your equilibrium quantity. It's your equilibrium price. Okay.
Okay, so
I
your
hope it helps.
So you only calculate equilibrium price. You do not calculate the quantity demanded at equilibrium price. If that makes
Okay.
sense.
So that is why, well, that's why I interjected early on.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Let me go back and then you can just mute yourself and let me explain it again. So let's go back to this example. Right? Guys, when the market is in equilibrium is when the quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied. When you have that case, you only have an equilibrium price, right? The price at which that occurs is called the equilibrium price, right? The quantity at which that occurs is called the equilibrium quantity. It's this intersection over here. That 30 is my equilibrium price and 60 is my equilibrium quantity. Because my quantity demanded is equal to my quantity supplied. So the intersection is where they meet. Okay? So once I come to this example over here, I'm saying to you, right, I am equating these two equations. The one represents demand, this one over here. The other one represents supply. So whatever I work out, in this case being my P, right? That P is my equilibrium price, right? Once I have my equilibrium price of 16, then I can work out my equilibrium quantity. Okay? Let me do an example for you quickly. I'm going to change this. Let's do that. Let's work it out. So I'm just going to write it down. My equilibrium price over here is equal to 16. I'm going to use the quantity demanded equation of 120 minus 3p. The quantity supplied equation is equal to 40 plus 2p. Okay? So let's do this quickly. Let me take this off. And let's move over to something else that I can share. Let's write it over here. So what was it? My PE was equal to 16, right? My quantity demanded equation, which the demand equation was 120 minus 3P. 3P. My quantity, my supply equation, or quantity supplied, let's take that out. QS is equal to 40 plus 2P. So what I'm going to do now is my equilibrium quantity, which is QE, right, is going to be equal to, and I'm taking this first one over here. That's 120 minus 3 multiplied by, what's my P? 16, right, is equal to, okay? In this case over here, my equilibrium quantity is going to be, and now I'm focusing on this equation over here, is equal to 40 plus 2 multiplied by 16, right, is equal to, I've got 120 minus, what is 3 times 16? If anybody can just help me, you can unmute. Calculator, 3 times 16 is what? 48. How much?
48.
48. So 48, what's 120 minus what, 48? 120 minus 48.
72.
72. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? So we've got 40 plus 32 is equal to how much? 40 plus 32 is equal to 72. Can you guys see this answer is exactly the same? Exactly the same. Reason being is because, right, your equilibrium, when you have market equilibrium, your quantity demanded is equal to your quantity supplied. In my case over here, the 16 is what? Is my equilibrium price. The 16 over here is my equilibrium price. So what am I working out? I'm working out my equilibrium quantity. And that is why these two are the same. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
No, it's a pleasure.
Sorry,
So I'm gonna.
I just, okay, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to confirm from what I was asking earlier was that if you got a question where they give you the equation in terms of quantity, do you rather, is it safer to first calculate the price than to redefine the equation in terms of P?
So you are
If
you
that makes
talking? Let me just switch over. I don't know who I'm speaking to. Yolanda.
It's Yolanda. Yes.
Is that maybe not the second question that you're asking me over here?
Yes, I see in the second question, though, they give the equation in terms of P. That's why I'm asking if they ask for quantity, equilibrium quantity, but give the equation in terms of quantity, in terms of Q. Do you rather first calculate the price as we did in the...
They can't do that.
Can't they do that? Okay, thank you.
If they're going to give you, thank you for the question, and it's a very good question. If they're going to ask you for the equilibrium quantity, they need to give it to you, the equation, right? The demand for that commodity or that good or service, right, is represented by, they're going to give it to you in terms of price, they're going to give you the supply, but also by the equation represented by price. Because essentially it needs to equal one another. The equilibrium price is going to equal, it's going to be the same equilibrium quantity, your quantity demand is equal to your quantity supplied. So in this case over here, the second question, right? You are going to let the two equations equal one another once again. As you guys can see over here, right? Okay, but let me rather go back to this. And let me make it a little bit bigger. You are going to make the two equations equal one another again, and then you are going to solve for equilibrium quantity. It doesn't matter if you've got QD or QS over there. In the end of all of it, it's going to be QE, right? I did steal this. Yeah, this is another, yeah. Just negate that QD over there. Actually, while I'm talking, let me just insert that. Because I don't want to confuse anybody. There should actually have been QS over there. Right? Let's make it QE over here. QE. Let's make that the subscript. There we go. Control all, let's make it a bit bigger. 26. Okay. So I hope that makes more sense over there. And I think maybe that's why people are getting confused. So apologies for that. So your equilibrium quantity is going to be 40. So now they might ask you, please, what is the equilibrium price? You take that 40 over there and you plug it into any one of these equations, and you will once again get the equilibrium price. Okay, doesn't matter which one you choose. Are we good, guys? Are we good? Okay. So I did go through this last week, but the idea over here is, and this is going to be one of the last slides that we're going to speak to, then we're just going to go for a break. Actually, no. Then I'm going to go to the next one. Those two slides we can talk to, because it's going to go very quickly. Essentially, with this slide over here, I want you to focus at the bottom. Okay? The far left-hand side, in other words, A, we have an increase in demand. In other words, an increase in any of the determinants except price. Right? What's going to happen to your demand curve? When you have an increase in demand, your demand curve, your negative sloping line over here, negative sloping, right? The negative sloping means it has an inverse relationship. Right? Negative sloping is going to shift upwards and to the right. Okay? What it means is that your equilibrium price and both equilibrium quantity is going to increase. So here, as an example, right? Let's say, for example, a consumer's income. Consumer's income increases in the market, right? Maybe they're a tax break. Okay. So now the demand curve is going to shift from DD to D1, D1. It's a rightward upward shift of the demand curve. What is going to happen is your initial point of equilibrium was by E over here. We had equilibrium quantity of Q0 and P0. Right? What's going to happen now? You have your demand curve shifting upwards and to the right. In other words, increasing demand. You're going to have a new equilibrium point, right? Which is denoted here by E1. You're going to have a new equilibrium quantity denoted by Q1. So equilibrium quantity increases from Q0 to Q1. What happens with the equilibrium price? The equilibrium price is going to increase from P0 to P1. So when you have an increase in demand, your equilibrium price and your equilibrium quantity is going to increase. Okay. However, when you have a decrease, which is in B over here on your far right hand side, the converse happens. So now, with a decrease in demand, your demand curve shifts downward and to the left, right? From DD to D2, D2. So initially shifted from equilibrium point was E, now it goes to E2.
Sorry, your screen isn't showing. It's still on the old previous screen.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that, eh? And nobody stopped me. These guys are really, and I wasn't checking, of course. So thank you for that. But these guys, with my explanation, do you guys understand that? Let me just make this a little bit bigger here. Right? All I was saying to you is, and I want you just to focus on the far left-hand side. All I'm saying to you is, with an increase in demand, you're going to have a rightward shift of the demand curve from DD to D1. That is going to bring an effect, or the effect of it is going to be an increase in equilibrium price from P0 to P1, and an increase in equilibrium quantity from Q0 to Q1. Right? Now, if you have a decrease in demand, this far right inside B over here. All right, what's going to happen? You are going to have remember the initial equilibrium point is denoted by E over here. Okay, so with a decrease in demand, your demand curve is going to shift from DD to D2. That is a downward leftward shift. Okay, a decrease in demand. When you have a decrease in demand, your curve is going to shift to the left. When you have an increase in demand, your curve is going to shift to the right. Demand curve will shift to the right. Okay. So with your demand curve shifting to the right to a new equilibrium point called E2, you now have your equilibrium price decreasing from P0 to P2 and your equilibrium quantity decreasing from Q0 to Q2. Does it make sense? Well, the key takeaway from this is, if my demand curve is going to shift to the right, increase. Right? If my demand curve is going to shift to the left, downward, it's going to decrease. Demand is going to decrease. Right? What's going to happen to my equilibrium quantity and my equilibrium price? It's also going to decrease. If my demand curve shifts to the right, in other words, increases, what's going to happen to my equilibrium price and my equilibrium quantity? It's also going to increase. Those are the key takeaways that I want you to take from that. Okay. But let's break for 10 minutes. We'll be back at 22:08, and then we're going to shoot and try and finish off some of the other goodies. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Price. I can have half
I will be back again into the gradient shift, but let's maintain that energy. Yeah, elasticity, but is a little bit tough. But I did furnish you guys some with additional notes, so please go read through that in your spare time. But let's carry on. So okay, so with in terms of supply, screen changed over now. There we go. Okay, so look at the bottom part over here. All right. Let's look at C. Let's focus on C and then D. In the case of supply, there's a decrease in productivity, right? Your supply curve is going to shift to the left, right? It's going to shift from SS to S1, S1. What is going to happen, right? I didn't denote it over here with the equilibrium points, but just, yeah, you can put E, let's put E by your initial equilibrium point over here. And in this case, we can say make the new equilibrium point for your leftward shift of the supply curve to S1, we can make that E2. Okay, so what is going to happen to your equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? Right, we're going to see an increase in equilibrium price from P0 to P1, and in the case of equilibrium quantity, it's going to be a decrease in equilibrium quantity from Q0 to Q1. Right, in the case of an increase in productivity, right, you're going to have a rightward shift of your supply curve. Okay, in this case, you're moving from equilibrium point E to E1. Right, what's going to happen to equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity? Equilibrium quantity, your price is going to decrease from P0 to P1. Okay, denoted by the downward what's the name over there. And then in the case of your equilibrium quantity, it's going to increase from Q0 to Q1. Okay, I hope it makes sense, guys. Hope you're happy with that. So now I've got an example over here, right? On the diagram below, illustrate the impact of a decrease in supply on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Illustrate, right? That's why I've got that other PowerPoint over there. We're going to draw this now. So what am I trying to say to you? There's a decrease in the supply, right? A decrease in supply. A decrease in supply, right? What is going to happen to equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? So I'm going to change, and I'd like somebody to unmute. I'm going to draw it, but essentially what I want you to do is I want you to talk me through it. Okay? So I've got it over here. I've got my price is my vertical axis, my quantity on my horizontal axis. My quantity is my dependent variable. My price is my independent variable. My independent variable determines my dependent variable. My independent variable determines my dependent variable. My price determines my quantity. Okay, so what did I say earlier on? My supply decreases, right? What's going to happen to my equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? Do I have any hands that's willing to talk us through this? Guys, please don't rush, eh? I know that there's a no screen. Let's do this again. Apologies. I did tell you guys, technology is not my strongest suit, eh? So I've got this over here. So who would like to go? I'm not seeing any hands. Guys, we're all in this together. There is no right or wrong answer. Right? Just think about yourself in the exam. Let's rather do this now. While we're all sitting and watching and learning from one another. Or can I rather choose somebody? Right?
Hi, can you please repeat the question again?
The question is, if there is a decrease in supply, right? What did we say early on? What can cause a decrease in supply? It's everything else besides the price, right, of the good or service. It can be a decrease in productivity. It can be a decrease in technology. It can be adverse weather conditions, in other words, a drought. It can also be the factors of production increasing, the cost of those factors of production increasing. In other words, your labor, the price of your labor, wages for your labor increases, your salary, salaries increase. Okay. What is going to happen to your supply curve? Is it going to shift to the right or to the left? And then we basically need to show what's going to happen. And I'll guide you what is going to happen to the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity, but I'm going to draw it over here. But I just want, I see your hand is up, Jolene. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say if the supply curve decreases, then it shifts to the left. The price will increase and the demand will decrease.
Well, let's work them quickly. So I'm going to insert.
Okay.
All right. Let's put the line in. All right. So you're saying the supply curve is going to shift to the left.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's denote this as what? Let's make it S1 S1. Let's make it S1 S1. Okay.
My equilibrium price will increase and my quantity will decrease.
Let me just what I'm teaching it to nonsense over here. So what I wanted to do was, let me just draw the lines. And let's make this PE1. Okay. My new equilibrium quantity is going to be so thank you, Jolene. You can carry on.
That is what I wanted to say. My price will increase and my quantity will decrease.
Your price and your quantity. But what is the correct terminology?
I'm not 100% sure. Maybe someone else can help me with that.
So with my supply decreasing, right? It's an upward leftward shift from SS, right, to S1 S1. Right? What is going to happen over here? And I want you to use the correct terminology. And I'm being a bit anal, but yeah, you need to use the correct terminology.
So my equilibrium price will increase and my equilibrium quantity will decrease.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. I'm just going to put it in there. I'm making a mistake here. Thank you very much for that. So my equilibrium price is going to increase from PE to PE1, and my equilibrium quantity is going to decrease from QE to QE1. Okay. And that's my new equilibrium point called E1. Right? To all of you, so you fine with that example? That's in the case of your supply curve decreasing. Your supply decreasing. Are you guys happy? You all good? Pagan is saying yes. Can we carry on? We've got 9 more minutes left. Okay, let's carry on. So now we're going to go to elasticity. Okay. So the key thing that I want you, remember the first class that I spoke to you guys about. I said to you, when you do elasticity, right? The key thing that I want you to remember, in the case of price elasticity of demand, think about sensitivity. How sensitive is the quantity demand of product to an increase or decrease in the price? Sensitive, sensitive. When you see elastic, or you just think sensitive. You change that word. Just think about sensitivity, right? In the case of quantity supplied, the price elasticity of supply, then you think of responsiveness. Okay. So, yeah. In this case over here, let's read through quickly. We'll focus on the sensitivity or responsiveness of the quantity demanded, QD, and the quantity supplied. Right? These over here, the quantity demanded and the quantity supplied is your dependent variable, to changes in the price, which is your independent variable. That is the reason why I made the real focus early on. Okay? And also your other determinants of the quantity demanded and quantity supplied. Elasticity is a measure of your responsiveness or sensitivity. Okay? Elasticity is defined as a percentage change, right? Percentage change, that the angle means change, in a dependent variable.
Sorry,
If the
your
relevant
screen hasn't changed.
Oh, goodness, sorry, man. Are we good?
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, let me just go back to the definition, and I need to just move through this very quickly, right? Elasticity is defined as the percentage change in a dependent variable. In other words, elasticity is, in terms of price elasticity of demand, as the percentage change in your quantity demanded if your price changes by 1%. Okay? So, in other words, it's this, yeah, percent elasticity is a percentage change in dependent variable, right? Let me move to the next slide. So this is the formula over here. Just go back. I'm trying to look for more simpler. Yeah. So if we look at this over here, this is your price elasticity of demand, right? Your percentage change in your dependent variable divided by your percentage change in your independent variable. Okay. Can you guys see this at the bottom over here? So this definition that they give you over here, right, is exactly that, but this is in words. So I hope that makes sense. Let me just show it to you again. I'd rather put it into notation So the price elasticity of demand is your percentage change in your quantity demanded divided by your percentage change in your price. Okay. In other words, if it's defined as the percentage change in your quantity demanded if your price changes by 1%. Okay. Thus, elasticity measures the responsiveness or sensitivity between two variables that are related. So if you look at the far right-hand side over here, I've put rainfall or I've put price, maize crop or quantity demanded, right? In the case of rainfall and maize crop, I'm saying to you, how sensitive is the size of the Western Cape maize crop to a 1% change in rainfall, right? Your dependent variable, your maize crop is determined by your independent variable. Your dependent variable is determined by your independent variable, right? So that's why if your independent variable, in this case, your rainfall changes by 1%, what impact is it going to have on your maize crop? If I put it to you in another way, right? How sensitive is the size of the Western Cape maize crop to a 1% change in rainfall, right? How sensitive is investment spending to changes in the interest rate, right? If I had to use the case of price over here, how sensitive is your quantity demanded to a 1% change in price? I hope the pin is dropping. If there is any questions, you guys can let's maybe just pause very quickly. I know we've got 3 more minutes left, but besides that, is it making sense to you? Fazan, can't you see it still? Or maybe I should just carry on, guys. Are you okay with that? Or am I losing you? But am I losing you in terms of my explanations? Because it will, once I go through it, yeah, it will become a little bit more clearer. Okay. Thank you, Karen. So here's an example for you, right? I'm going to leave this left-hand side of here because I think I've explained it to nauseam already. But if we had to calculate it, so remember what the calculation or the formula. Price elasticity of demand, which is denoted by ED over there, is the percentage change, right, in my quantity demanded, which is denoted by QD, divided by the percentage change in my price. Right? Now, please write this down. Yes, you've got the notes. Right? Now I've got my ED over there, price elasticity demand, is equal to Q2. We make this a little bit bigger. Right? Q2 minus Q1 in brackets divided by Q1. Right? Then below that, it's P2 minus P1 divided by P1. So that is essentially my percentage change in my quantity demanded divided by my percentage change in my price. Okay? So now we are at point, in this case over here, I'm hearing somebody. Can you just mute yourself, please? So we're moving from point B along the demand curve. Point B over there, we have a price of 8 Rand, and a quantity demanded of 4 units. Right? And we're moving from B to C. At C, we have a price of 5 Rand for quantity demanded of 10 units. So what I normally do is to work this out. They're asking me essentially what is going to be the price elasticity, right? If you're moving from point B to point C. Pardon me. So I write down what I do is I write P1 first, and let me just show you quickly. So initially when I start off, whenever I do examples like this, I'm going to move over again. And this is key, extremely important for you to do because I normally do it like this. So P1, Q1. That's the initial price and initial quantity. What are they giving me first? Then I've got P2 over here, right? And then Q2. But what I fill in first is my P1. So can I find my initial price is equal to this? Whatever it is, I think it was 5. My initial quantity was 8. I'm just giving silly examples, right? Then what am I moving to? Then my second price 2 is equal to, let's have example 10. It was 8. And then my second quantity is going to be 10. In this case over here, as I move back, I'm moving back to the example now, right? As I filled it in, I said, what's my initial price? It's 8. P1 equals to 8, right? What's my initial quantity? It's 4. So I fill Q1, 4. Then I go to P2 and Q2. But I list it in this way. But in terms of my sequence, in terms of my order that I'm filling it in over there, I'm saying to you exactly what I'm doing. I'm first listing, writing down my initial price and my initial quantity, because then I'm not going to make a mistake, right? Then my P2 is 5, where C is, right? My price at point C is 5, and my quantity demanded at C is 10. So now I've got these goodies over here, and I know my formula to work out my price elasticity of demand. It's Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1, right? My Q2 minus my initial quantity divided by my initial quantity, right? Divided by P2 minus P1 divided by P1. My P1 over there is my initial price, right? So now I have my price elasticity of demand is 4. So this is very, very important over here, right? When my price elasticity of demand is greater than 1, let me just make it a little bit bigger. When my price elasticity of demand is greater than 1, then we say that demand is elastic. Remember the word when I said elastic earlier on? Just think sensitive. Elastic is sensitive. Whenever you see the word elastic, always in your mind say sensitive. So what am I saying? Demand for that product is sensitive to a price change. It's sensitive to a price change. In other words, demand for the product is sensitive to price change. I'll put that over there. Let's move to the next one very quickly. Okay. And I see that we're over time, but the key point I want to make over here is right on the far left-hand side. Let's just move over. And I apologize, guys, if we are going a little bit over this evening. In this case, we're moving from point D to point E. Point D is over here. That's my initial price, which is 2, P1. My initial quantity is 16. So when I list it on the far right-hand side of here, I say P1 is equal to 2, Q1 is equal to 16. Then I look for P2. I put it now a number in over there and the Q2, and then I just plug it into my formula, right? Your change in your quantity is Q2 minus Q1. My change in my price is P2 minus P1. So now I'm going to come down to negative 0.25. Your price elasticity of demand is always going to be negative, but you ignore the minus sign. Okay. So now in this case, my price elasticity of demand is less than 1. Sorry about that. It's less than 1. When your price elasticity of demand is less than 1, we say demand is inelastic. Demand is inelastic. It's insensitive, right? Demand for the product is insensitive to price changes. When you have products like tobacco, alcohol, the consumers or buyers of those products or everything else are insensitive to price changes. Okay, so that's a key thing. We're going to go through this in more detail next week. The easy examples, go through that so long so that when we go through it next week, these guys are up, these guys are all cool and happy to go through the goodies. So yes, I'm going to stop there. But if you guys have any pressing questions, you're most welcome to ask me. Yeah, maybe we can just go till 10 past 8 if you don't mind. I see Jolene's hand is up. Jolene, you can unmute. Thank you.
I just want to ask, where do I get the notes? Is it on the Western Cape portal?
It was uploaded today, but Cameron has made it available via your WhatsApp group, the ECS1501 WhatsApp group. She did put it as PDFs in there, and I did mail it through to her as well, so you can get in touch with her.
Is there somewhere I can leave my number, because I'm not on the WhatsApp group? I'm only on the Telegram group.
Okay, then put your number in the meeting chat. Then hopefully Cameron can get in touch with you. Jolene, you're welcome to do that. Just in terms of the tenants register, for those of you that haven't, because I see Fagan joined late. These guys just kindly fill that in. If there is no other questions, is that an old hand, Jolene? You can just unmute, guys. If there isn't any other questions, thank you very much for your patience this evening. Have a blessed evening further, and then we'll definitely tackle for next week. We're definitely going to tackle elasticity. So we're going to run through all of them. I promise you guys that they're going to ask us in the exams, so I'll rather spend some time with that, but we are going to have to move on to some of the other stuff really quickly. So read through the notes, understand it. What I will do is, in preparation for next week, so that we can go through this very quickly, I will be sending you some notes. Yeah, maybe early either Sunday or early Monday. I will be sending you guys just rather Monday. Let me not lie to you. Rather Monday, I'm going to send you examples for all of the others: the income elasticity, the price elasticity of supply. There is some examples in the notes already. But other than that, if you all guys are all good, let's say good night to one another. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gershwin.
Thank you very much, eh?
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi.
Bye-bye.
Sir, I have just one question.
Sure, please don't call me sir. Who am I speaking to? Is it
Cameron.
Cameron?
Apologies,
Yes, Cameron.
Gershwin.
Yeah.
When you say elasticity,
Yeah.
you're saying how sensitive is the quantity supplied, price, and quantity demanded?
To a price changes. How sensitive is it to it? When we're talking about supply.
Perfect. Thank you. I was just trying to make a note.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, cool. Pleasure.
Enjoy your
Thanks a lot.
evening.
Same to you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.